Elias wiped the sweat from his forehead and stepped back from the half-finished machine. Sparks flew from the gears and the smell of burning oil filled the small workshop. He liked working alone. The quiet helped him think. Outside, the wind moved through the high cliffs where his small village clung to the edge of the sky realm. The villagers often said strange things lived beyond the cliffs, but Elias never believed them. That is, until today. A soft, pained cry drifted through the workshop door. Elias froze, glancing toward the sound. It was not like any animal he had heard before. It was higher, lighter, and full of sadness. He slowly opened the door, half expecting to see a lost bird or a small animal. What he saw instead made him stumble back. A tiny dragon no bigger than a cat stood at the threshold. Its scales shimmered with colors Elias had never seen, like liquid gold and soft silver mixed together. The dragon's eyes were wide and wet, glistening with tears. In its small claws, it held a broken object. It looked like a toy, but strange lines of glowing magic ran through it. One of the wings on the toy had snapped and a small wheel was bent out of shape. The baby dragon's tail twitched nervously as it looked up at Elias, almost pleading. Elias blinked and took a careful step forward. Hi, he said softly, unsure if the creature would attack. The dragon lowered its head slightly, letting out a small whimper. Then, almost as if understanding, it placed the broken toy gently at Elias's feet and stepped back. The little dragon's eyes never left him. Elias felt a strange pull in his chest, a mixture of curiosity and sympathy. He knelt and picked up the toy. It was delicate, with moving parts that glowed faintly. He turned it over, examining the broken wing and bent wheel. The toy was unlike anything he had worked on before. Elias loved fixing things, but magic was something he had only read about in old village stories. Still, he could not ignore the small, frightened creature looking at him with hope. I can try to fix this, he said, his voice barely a whisper. The baby dragon made a small chirping sound that sounded almost like a laugh. It bounced slightly on its tiny legs, then sat down, watching him closely. Elias smiled nervously. Okay, let's see what we can do. He pulled out his tools, wrenches, small hammers, and delicate pliers. He had learned to work carefully over many years, and now he used every bit of skill he had. He studied the toy, touching the glowing lines with his fingers, careful not to break them. He tapped the broken wing, twisted the wheel, and whispered encouragements to the dragon. Hold still, okay, just a little more, there. Time passed slowly. Outside, the wind blew, rattling the workshop walls. Elias's hands were stained with oil and sweat, but he did not notice. He was completely focused on the small, magical toy and the tiny dragon that waited anxiously beside him. The dragon watched his every move, sometimes leaning forward, sometimes backing up, its eyes wide with trust. Finally, with one last careful adjustment, the wings snapped into place and the wheel spun freely. The toy clicked and whirred, moving as it was meant to. The baby dragon's eyes lit up like sunlight on water. It squeaked in delight, jumping up and down, then nudged Elias's hand with its small snout. Elias laughed softly, relieved. You're welcome, he said. The little dragon chirped again, spinning in circles, and then carefully picked up the toy in its claws. It bounced toward the door and then stopped. Elias noticed something strange. From the high cliffs above, a shadow moved. He squinted but could not make out what it was. The baby dragon turned its head, following the shadow, but did not leave the workshop. Instead it seemed careful, aware, like it knew something he didn't. Elias frowned. What's up there? He asked quietly. The dragon simply looked at him, then back to the sky, its little ears flicking. Elias shrugged, thinking it must be some large bird. But something deep inside him told him otherwise. Something old, something powerful was watching. The baby dragon chirped again, this time softer, and pressed the toy against Elias's hand. Its eyes were full of gratitude, almost human in their emotion. Elias reached out and touched its small head. The scales were warm and soft, like sunlight on smooth stone. He realized suddenly that this tiny creature was not just a visitor. It was a link to a world he had never imagined, a world of dragons, magic, and power. As he watched the baby dragon, he felt a thrill of excitement mixed with fear. He did not yet know that this small act of kindness, fixing a broken toy, would soon put him in the attention of a being far greater than anything he had ever imagined. A king, a ruler of dragons, had noticed, and the tiny dragon's trust in him had set events in motion that could change everything. Elias smiled, not knowing what the future held, but ready for whatever came next. The baby dragon chirped again, holding the repaired toy proudly. And for the first time Elias spent the rest of the morning examining the baby dragon's toy. It was more complicated than anything he had ever fixed before. Tiny gears spun inside glowing tubes, and small wires made faint humming sounds. Elias had worked on machines all his life, but this toy felt alive. He realized it used some kind of dragon magic combined with engineering. The thought made him nervous but also excited. The baby dragon sat nearby, watching every movement with wide, shiny eyes. Its tiny tail twitched in anticipation whenever Elias moved a tool. Elias spoke softly as he worked, almost like talking to a child. "Hold still, this might take a while, okay, almost done?" The dragon chirped and nudged the toy closer to him as if encouraging him to hurry. Elias chuckled. "I'm going as fast as I can, little one." He carefully opened the toy, inspecting the bent wheel and the broken wing. The magic lines that ran through it pulsed faintly, reacting to his touch. He had never seen anything like it. His human mind tried to understand the patterns, and slowly a plan formed. He carefully bent the wheel back into shape, adjusted tiny cogs, and reinforced the broken wing with a small metal pin. Each movement required patience. One wrong step could break the toy completely. The baby dragon watched closely, sometimes leaning in to see better. When Elias hummed quietly as he worked, it made the dragon tilt its head, listening. Elias realized that the little creature seemed to respond to his voice. "Almost there, just a little more," he whispered. The dragon chirped happily, like it understood him. Time passed and the toy began to take shape again. The gears spun smoothly, the wing moved naturally, and the faint glow from the magic lines steadied. Elias smiled with relief. "There. That should do it." He carefully set the toy down and it sprang to life. Small lights blinked along its sides and it moved forward, rolling on its tiny wheels. The baby dragon squealed in joy, bouncing around the workshop. Its tiny claws tapped the floor in excitement, and it chirped so loudly that Elias laughed out loud. The little dragon picked up the toy and tried to make it fly. The wing flapped, and for a moment, it lifted off the ground, wobbling before landing safely again. The dragon's eyes sparkled with pride and happiness. It ran to Elias, pressing the toy against his hand, then nuzzled his arm. Elias stroked its soft, warm scales. "You're very clever," he said. "I think you really like this toy." The dragon chirped and spun in circles, happy beyond words. Elias did not notice at first, but something moved outside the workshop. A shadow passed over the door, large and heavy. He looked up and froze. On the cliff above, a massive dragon watched him. Its scales were darker and richer than the baby dragon's, and its eyes were sharp and wise. The human heart inside Elias raced. This was no ordinary dragon. This was something ancient, something powerful. And yet it did not attack or roar. It simply observed. The baby dragon noticed too. It stopped playing and ran to Elias, pressing its small body against his leg as if to protect him. Elias realized the creature trusted him completely. He stood slowly, keeping his hands open to show he meant no harm. The royal dragon's gaze remained fixed on him, silent but intense. Elias felt a strange mix of fear and awe. He had never met a dragon of this size before, let alone one that seemed to study him like a teacher grading a student. Minutes passed in silence. The baby dragon chirped softly, then nudged Elias toward the door as if encouraging him to look closer. Elias stepped outside carefully, keeping his eyes on the massive dragon above. The wind whipped around him, tugging at his clothes, but he stayed rooted. The Dragon King's eyes never left him. It was clear, this small act of kindness, fixing a toy, had drawn the attention of a being who ruled the sky realm. Elias swallowed hard. He had always thought humans were small and weak compared to dragons. But now, standing in the wind with a baby dragon at his side and the king watching him, he realized something important. Being human meant something different. It meant courage, patience, and the ability to care for others, even when the consequences were unknown. The royal dragon had noticed these qualities in him. The baby dragon chirped again, holding the toy proudly. It looked up at Elias with eyes full of joy and trust. Elias smiled, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. He did not yet know what this attention from the Skyrealm's king would lead to, but he knew that a new chapter in his life had begun. A chapter full of dragons, magic, and challenges that would test him in ways he had never imagined. As he turned to head back inside, the baby dragon ran beside him, wings fluttering, chirping happily. Elias looked up at the cliff once more, catching a last glimpse of the massive dragon before it disappeared into the clouds. He shivered with excitement and a little fear. The world had just become much bigger, much stranger, and much more dangerous. But for the first time Elias felt ready. He had repaired the toy, gained the trust of a dragon, and unknowingly caught the eye of a ruler. His adventure was only beginning. The next morning, Elias woke to a soft tapping at his workshop door. He rubbed his eyes and opened it slowly, expecting the baby dragon. But what he saw made his heart leap. A massive shadow stretched across the doorway so big it blocked the sunlight. Elias froze. Before him stood a dragon unlike any he had ever seen. Its scales were deep blue with streaks of gold that shimmered in the morning light. Its eyes glowed like molten amber, sharp and intelligent. Its wings were folded neatly against its body, but even at rest they looked strong enough to carry it across the entire sky realm. Elias instinctively took a step back. The dragon lowered its massive head to his level. Elias could feel the heat from its breath, warm and alive. Then a deep, resonant voice filled the air, echoing like thunder and wind together. "You fixed what my child could not." "Why?" Elias swallowed hard, trying to find words. I just wanted to help. I didn't think it would matter to anyone else." His voice trembled slightly. The dragon's amber eyes studied him carefully. "You did not act out of fear or reward. You acted out of understanding and care. Few humans show such qualities. Most are weak and selfish. Yet you are different." Elias's mind raced. Wait, selfish? He had always thought humans were small and fragile compared to dragons. But this dragon's words, they carried respect. He felt a mixture of fear and pride. "I didn't think about that," he admitted. "I just wanted the baby dragon to be happy." The dragon lowered its wings slightly, revealing the baby dragon perched on its parent's shoulder. The little one chirped excitedly, nudging Elias's leg. Elias knelt, holding out a hand. The baby dragon pressed the repaired toy against his palm, spinning it slowly. Elias smiled. "I'm glad you like it," he said. The massive dragon watched, silent but not unfriendly. "This toy, it is not just a toy. It contains threads of sky realm magic, delicate and ancient. Many could destroy it by mistake. Yet you handled it with care and skill. That is why I watched." Elias's mouth went dry. You were watching me?" The dragon's eyes narrowed slightly, though the tone was not angry. "Always. Every action matters. Every choice is noticed. Today I have chosen to see you human, not as a small creature, but as one who can stand among us." Elias felt a chill not from cold but from awe. The dragon's words were like a weight pressing on his chest. He realized how dangerous this attention could be. One wrong word, one wrong move, and he might anger a being capable of crushing mountains. Yet at the same time he felt honored. The dragon lowered its massive head even closer. "You have traits rare in your kind, patience, cleverness, and empathy. These are gifts that even we dragons respect. If you are willing, I would have you come with me to the sky realm. There is much for you to see and much for you to learn." Elias's mind spun. Go with the Dragon King? Into the sky realm? The cliffs beyond his village stretched endlessly into the clouds. Dragons flew above, unseen from below. He had always dreamed of adventure but never imagined it like this. Could a human really survive in a place ruled by dragons? The baby dragon chirped again, nudging him forward. It seemed to say, "Go, you can trust him." Elias looked up at the Dragon King, then at the creature who had trusted him from the first moment. He swallowed his fear and nodded. I will go." A low rumble came from the Dragon King's throat, almost like a laugh. "Good. Then follow me." It spread its massive wings and lifted into the sky with powerful strokes, carrying the baby dragon safely on its back. Elias hesitated, then took a deep breath. He climbed onto a floating platform nearby, a human invention he had built to carry cargo to the cliffs, and followed as the dragon glided upward. The wind rushed past him, carrying the scent of clouds and lightning. Below, the village looked tiny like toys in the dirt. Elias felt a mixture of fear and exhilaration. The Dragon King glided higher, and Elias realized he could see the entire sky realm stretching endlessly. Floating islands drifted in the air, streams of glowing magic ran like rivers, and other dragons soared gracefully, their scales glinting in the sun. Humans were small here. He could feel it. But still he felt important. The Dragon King spoke again, voice calm and deep. "This world is not yours, human. But your actions, your mind, and your heart, they can change it. Remember that. The Sky Realm watches not only what you do but why you do it." Elias nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had repaired a small toy, a simple act of kindness, but it had changed everything. The Dragon King had noticed, and now the human's life was no longer ordinary. The baby dragon chirped, spinning the toy in joy, and Elias realized something important. No matter how small humans seemed, they could do great things. A single act, guided by care and intelligence, could reach the eyes of kings and change destinies. The Dragon King landed on a wide floating island. Elias stepped carefully to the ground, feeling the magical hum under his feet. He looked up at the massive creature before him, feeling awe, fear, and excitement all at once. He was a human in a world of dragons, small yet noticed, weak yet valued. And for the first time, Elias understood that being human meant more than strength. It meant heart, courage, and ingenuity, the qualities that even dragons admired. His adventure had only just begun, and already the Sky Realm was watching him closely. Elias stepped cautiously onto the floating island, his heart pounding. The ground shimmered with faint magical light, and the air was filled with a soft hum, like the whisper of ancient power. All around him, dragons of every size moved gracefully. Some perched on glowing rocks, others soared through the sky, their wings glinting in the sunlight. Elias felt small, tiny even, but he also felt a strange excitement. He was here, in the heart of the Sky Realm, where dragons ruled, and he was noticed. The baby dragon chirped happily, spinning in circles with its repaired toy. Elias knelt to watch it, smiling. "You've got a lot of energy," he said softly. The little one chirped again, nudging his hand. Elias realized that this small creature had trusted him completely, and that trust was a bridge to a world he had never imagined. The Dragon King landed nearby, folding his massive wings neatly. His eyes glowed with intelligence, and his gaze was both sharp and kind. "Do not fear, human," he said. "Here, dragons respect skill and heart, not size or strength. You have shown both, and that is why you are allowed among us." Elias swallowed, feeling both awe and nervousness. I don't know what to say. I've never been around dragons like this before." The king's deep voice rumbled. "Then observe. Learn. You may be small, but humans possess qualities that even dragons admire: curiosity, creativity, patience, and empathy. Watch carefully, and you will see how your kind can stand among ours." Elias followed as the king led him across the island. Dragons of all shapes and sizes watched him closely. Some circled above, their wings creating gentle gusts of wind. Others walked nearby, scales glinting like polished gems. Elias felt their eyes on him, measuring, testing, but not threatening. He realized that the dragons did not see him as prey or weak, they saw him as different, special. The king stopped near a waterfall of glowing blue liquid, and Elias gasped. The water sparkled like starlight, flowing from one floating rock to another. "This is the heart stream," the king explained. "It nourishes our magic, connects our islands, and maintains balance in the Sky Realm. Humans cannot survive here easily, but your mind allows you to understand things we dragons take centuries to master." Elias crouched near the heart stream, touching the water cautiously. It felt warm and alive. "It's incredible," he whispered. "I've never seen anything like this." The king nodded. "Your ingenuity is valuable. Humans can solve problems with methods we do not think of. Observe the creatures here. Notice their strengths and weaknesses. You will learn not only from them but also teach them in ways they cannot imagine." Elias looked around. A group of dragons was struggling to lift a heavy stone using their magic. Their efforts were strong but slow. He remembered his own skills as an engineer and an inventor. Carefully he sketched a small plan in the dust, using sticks and his fingers. Then he guided the dragons, showing them how to balance the stone and use their strength efficiently. Slowly the stone lifted with ease. The dragons paused, looking at him in surprise. The king's eyes glowed warmly. "See? You have shown us that even humans, small as they are, can teach and improve. That is why you are here." Elias smiled nervously. He had never imagined that his simple problem-solving skills could be valuable in a world of creatures so powerful. Yet here, among the dragons, it mattered more than anything he had done before. The baby dragon chirped and jumped onto his shoulder, as if celebrating his success. Elias laughed softly, feeling a strange pride. The day passed quickly. Elias explored floating gardens, glowing caves, and islands suspended by magic. He met dragons who could breathe storms, dragons who could weave light into solid forms, and dragons whose scales reflected entire skies. He watched carefully, learning, taking notes in his mind. The king occasionally guided him, explaining traditions, magic flows, and the ways dragons measured intelligence and worth. By evening, Elias was exhausted but exhilarated. The sun, low on the horizon, painted the floating islands in shades of orange and pink. The baby dragon curled up on his lap, tired from the day's adventures. Elias stroked its scales gently, marveling at how trust and kindness had brought him here. The king landed nearby, his massive wings folding like sails. "Humans are fragile, he said, but your mind and heart give you a power few dragons understand. Remember this. You are not here by chance. You are here because you acted without selfishness, without fear. That is what makes you extraordinary. Elias nodded, feeling the truth in the words. Small or weak in body, he realized humans could still leave a mark in a world of dragons. The Sky Realm was vast, magical, and dangerous, but it was also a place where humans, through ingenuity and empathy, could shine. As night fell, Elias looked up at the stars shining through the gaps between floating islands. Dragons circled silently, their wings reflecting moonlight. The baby dragon yawned, curling against him. Elias whispered softly, I never thought I'd be here, among dragons, and yet here I am. Maybe humans aren't as small as everyone thinks. The king's voice rumbled one last time for the night. Rest, human. Tomorrow you will learn more. And remember, the Sky Realm watches. Every action, every choice matters. The bonds you form here will change more than you know. Elias closed his eyes, feeling the wind on his face and the soft weight of the baby dragon against him. He had entered a world of giants and magic, a world far beyond his village. And yet, he understood now that humans, with their courage, patience, and intelligence, could walk among dragons, shaping the Sky Realm in ways even kings could not foresee. Morning light spilled across the floating islands of the Sky Realm, painting everything in gold and silver. Elias stretched, feeling the weight of the baby dragon curled against his chest. He had slept under the open sky, surrounded by dragons, and for the first time he felt a true connection to a world far larger than his village. The air hummed with magic, gentle and alive, as if the islands themselves were watching him. The Dragon King landed nearby with a graceful sweep of his massive wings. You have learned much in a short time, human, he said, his voice deep and steady. But there is more to understand. The Sky Realm is not only a place of power, but of trust, bonds, and responsibility. Today you will see why your kind matters here. Elias nodded, curiosity and excitement mingling with a slight nervousness. He had seen incredible things, dragons weaving light, islands floating in the sky, and magic flowing through the air like rivers. But now he realized the lessons were no longer about observation alone. They were about connection. The baby dragon chirped and hopped from his lap, leading Elias toward a wide bridge of glowing rock that arched over a deep, swirling chasm. Other dragons gathered along the edges, wings folded, eyes bright with curiosity. Elias noticed that they did not seem hostile or indifferent. They watched him as though expecting something important. The king spoke again. The Sky Realm has long held a prophecy. It says that one day a human, small in body but great in heart, would bridge the worlds of dragons and men. This human would act with care, cleverness and courage, and in doing so, would change the course of our realm. Elias felt his chest tighten. A prophecy? He asked, barely daring to breathe. Yes, the king said. Many have tried to interpret it, but none fulfilled it. Until now. He lowered his head, and Elias realized the words were not empty praise. They were truth. The simple act of repairing a toy for a crying baby dragon, an act he had thought trivial, had drawn the attention of the royal eyes and fulfilled a prophecy older than any human memory. The baby dragon chirped excitedly, nudging Elias's hand. Elias smiled softly. I only wanted to help, he said, feeling both humility and pride. The king nodded. And that is exactly why it worked. Humans often act without expectation, without fear of power or reward. That is why your kind is remarkable, even in a world filled with giants. Elias looked around at the dragons gathered on the floating islands. Their eyes shone with intelligence and respect. The baby dragon climbed onto his shoulder, as if to show him it trusted him completely. Elias realized that this trust was more valuable than anything else. He had crossed the invisible line between human and dragon, not by strength but by heart. 4 hours, Elias explored the islands with the baby dragon at his side. They played among the glowing gardens, dove through streams of floating light, and even helped dragons solve small problems using clever human inventions. Every time they succeeded, Elias noticed the dragon's eyes change. There was admiration, respect, and sometimes quiet amazement. Humans were small, yes, but their minds could do what dragon magic alone could not. By evening the sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the floating islands. Elias sat on a rock near the heartstream, the baby dragon resting in his lap. The Dragon King landed beside him, wings folding like sails. The Sky Realm will remember this day, the king said. Not for your strength but for your choices. You have shown that humans, though fragile, can bring harmony, trust, and ingenuity to worlds far older than your own. Elias nodded quietly. I never thought that fixing a toy could matter so much, he admitted. I just wanted to help the baby dragon. The king's amber eyes softened. That is the point. Even the smallest act of kindness can ripple across worlds. You human have created a bond stronger than magic alone. That is why the Sky Realm welcomes you, and why you will always have a place here. The baby dragon chirped happily, nudging Elias's face with its tiny snout. Elias laughed, feeling warmth spread through him. For the first time, he understood that humans were not weak or insignificant. They were small in body, yes, but mighty in courage, creativity, and heart. Night fell and stars shimmered between the floating islands. Elias looked up at the constellations, imagining the villages far below and the creatures of the sky realm soaring through the clouds. He realized that the world was far larger than he had ever imagined, and yet humans could leave their mark upon it. The baby dragon yawned, curling against him for warmth. Elias stroked its soft scales and whispered, "We've done something special, together." The Dragon King watched silently, wings stretched wide against the starlit sky. "Remember, human," he said, "it is not strength alone that defines a being. It is heart, mind, and the choices one makes. That is what sets humans apart. That is what makes you extraordinary." Elias closed his eyes, feeling the wind on his face, the hum of the sky realm beneath him, and the trust of a creature far greater than himself. He realized that sometimes the smallest actions, an act of care, a moment of patience, could echo across worlds. A broken toy had led to friendship, respect, and a bond that could last a lifetime. And in that moment, Elias knew that he had found something no human had before: a place among dragons, a mark upon an ancient world, and a proof that humans, though small, could shine brighter than any magic the sky realm had ever known. The baby dragon chirped once more, spinning its toy, and Elias smiled. He had crossed worlds, earned trust, and fulfilled a prophecy he had never even known existed. And now he was ready for whatever the sky realm had in store.